The vinyl that never skipped. The rain came down in sheets over the red brick terraces of Anfield, drumming on the corrugated roof of the Picton Clock Tower like a brushed snare that never quite resolved into the next bar. Ronald "Ronnie" McAllister, known to every Merseyside musician simply as Mac, stood beneath a black golf umbrella at the gates of Anfield Cemetery, his 74-year-old niece trembling more from sorrow than cold. His wife Doreen had died 14 months earlier, quietly in her sleep, the way she always said she wanted to go, no fuss, no curtain call, just fade out on the final chorus. Today was the unveiling of her memorial stone, and the whole street had turned out, neighbors, former BBC colleagues, even the lads from the cavern who'd once carried Mac's valve amps up those 18 steps. Mac wore the same charcoal trench coat he'd bought for their silver anniversary gig at the Philharmonic in '99. In the inside pocket, pressed flat against his heart, was the 7-inch acetate disc Doreen had cut in 1964, the day she sang You'll Never Walk Alone into a single Newman U-47 while Mac balanced the levels in the control room. He'd played it every night since she died, needle dropping at the exact same crackle, letting her voice fill the terraced house on Solway Street until the streetlights flickered off. The service was short. A local priest said a few words about love enduring beyond the final mix. Then Mac's grandson Liam, 28, shaved head, sleeve tattoos, and a pair of 800-pound headphones around his neck, stepped forward with a portable Bluetooth speaker. He pressed play. Jerry Marsden's version of the anthem boomed across the gravestones, tinny and wrong. Mac flinched. Doreen hated digital compression, she said it squeezed the soul out of the groove. Liam cleared his throat. There's someone I need to thank, he began, Scouse accent thick with tears. Someone who kept the music alive for Nan when the rest of us were too busy chasing streams and likes. Uncle Felix Harper. Every head swiveled. In the front row, beneath a burgundy fedora and a velvet-collared coat, sat Felix Harper, 58, owner of Harper & Son Vintage Vinyl, the man who'd turned a market stall in Bold Street into a £3 million empire. He rose slowly, removed the fedora, and placed it over his heart. A collective murmur rippled through the crowd. That's the fella who bought the Beatles' demo acetates last year. Didn't he pay $500,000 for a mispress? Mac felt the umbrella slip from his fingers. Rain soaked his silver hair. He knew Felix had sold him a few rare 45s over the years, but Uncle? Kept the music alive? Liam's voice cracked. Felix was family. He understood Nan's heart better than any of us. Mac's chest caved in. Family. He had mixed every single session Doreen ever sang, backing vocals for Jerry and the Pacemakers, the Merseybeats, even Scylla when she was still Priscilla from Scotland Road. He'd built her a private recording studio in the cellar of their terraced house, soundproofed with egg boxes and old army blankets. 42 years of marriage, every note, every breath, captured on tape he'd spliced with a razor blade and a chinograph pencil. And now his own grandson thanked another man. He stumbled home through the drizzle, past the chippy on County Road where Doreen used to queue for curry sauce at 2 a.m. after gigs, past the shuttered Adelphi where they danced to the swinging blue jeans in '63. The key still turned in the Yale lock. Inside, the house smelled of lavender polish and valve dust. He went straight to the cellar. The studio was untouched. Newman mics on stands. The 1962 EMI-TG console glowing faintly. Shelves of reels labeled in Doreen's looping handwriting, Doreen Demos 1972, Liam's first birthday, singing Postman Pat. On the Revox deck sat a single 7-inch acetate in a plain white sleeve. Written in biro, Plainy Last, D. Mac's hands shook so badly he nearly dropped the disc. He threaded it onto the Garrard 401, lowered the Ortofon stylus, and pressed start. Crackle. Pop. Then Doreen's voice, older, friendlier, recorded weeks before she died. Mac, love. If you're hearing this, I've gone off air. Felix lied. He told me you wanted to flog the lot on eBay, that you'd fallen out of love with the music. I was terrified our songs would end up in some hedge fund manager's loft in Chelsea. So I signed the first will. But then I found the invoices. He's been skimming royalties from your session work for 15 years, every jingle, every backing track. Liam helped him catalog, thought he was saving the collection. Forgive the boy. Forgive me. The real will is taped under the mixing desk drawer. Come back to the studio, Mac. The music's still playing. Mac played it 6 times. Each listen carved another year off his life. He recruited LCL's Brennan 72, retired BBC sound archivist, still sharp as a razor blade. They spent weeks decoding Doreen's clues hidden in the groove runouts of mispressed singles, catalog numbers that matched bank transfers, scratched initials that spelled shell company names. Total embezzled, £1.83 million. Liam refused to take calls. His Instagram was a shrine to Felix, reels of private listening parties in Harper's penthouse, captions like "Preserving Nan's legacy one rare press at a time." The trial began on a sleeting November morning in Liverpool Crown Court. Felix took the stand in a midnight blue suit, voice smooth as 180-gram vinyl. Mrs. McAllister was distraught. Mr. McAllister had spoken of selling the collection. I merely honored her wishes. Els waited until the courtroom was silent, then produced the original 1963 acetate of Doreen singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." She placed it on a portable garage she'd smuggled in. "Mr. McAllister, would you demonstrate how engineers signal fraud in the mix?" Mac lowered the needle. Instead of the anthem, Doreen's voice, clear, furious, heartbreaking, filled the room. Dates, amounts, Felix's lies. The jury wept. Liam, in the public gallery, slid to the floor. Mac took the stand last. His voice was valve-warm and cracked with age. "I mixed your voice for 42 years. Every breath, every vibrato, every silence between heartbeats. Felix Harper mixed lies into our song. I want my wife's music back." The judge, a secret Northern Soul DJ, ruled in 40 minutes. Felix ordered to repay every penny plus interest. Harper and Son liquidated. Felix left court in an electronic tag. Mac thought justice would taste like victory. It tasted like ashes and tape hiss. Spring arrived with the scent of cut grass and hot solder. Mac sat in the cellar every night, restoring tapes, the Revox spools turning like prayer wheels. One May evening, the front door creaked. Liam stood on the step, duffel bag over shoulder, eyes bloodshot, beard grown wild. "I sold the decks," he whispered. "The headphones. The followers. I've been sleeping in Lime Street Station. Felix, he said you were jealous, that you never loved the music the way Nan did." His voice broke. "I believed him because it was easier than admitting I'd abandoned you both." Mac said nothing. He simply opened the cellar door. They worked in silence for months. Liam learned to splice tape with a razor blade, to clean oxide from capstans, to bias the studer for Doreen's voice. Valve Blow painted their faces orange. At night they drank tea strong enough to float a horseshoe and listened to the rain on the skylight. One evening Liam brought out the tiny brass plaque he had made. "For the studio door," he said. Mac read it in the reel-to-reel light. "Doreen and Mac McAllister, forever A-side." Tears rolled down his weathered cheeks, first time since the funeral. Liam rested his head on Mac's shoulder the way he did when he was 7 and afraid of thunder. The studio reopened in September. Local kids queued round the block. Mac, in his old BBC lab coat now pressed and patched, sat at the TG console. Liam, in a flat cap 2 sizes too big, loaded the first reel. At the end of the session, Mac pulled the original 1964 acetate from its sleeve. He handed Liam a fresh white label. "Your turn, lad." Liam wrote in biro, "For Mac, my forever engineer." He pressed record. The tape rolled. Liam sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" in a voice that cracked like his granddad's but carried like his nan's. When the final note faded, Mac lifted the needle. The room was silent except for the soft tick of cooling valves. Outside, the Anfield floodlights glowed red against the night sky. Somewhere in the distance, the cop sang the anthem back, 30,000 voices rising like a perfect mix. And in whatever frequency waits beyond the final fade-out, Doreen smiled, dropped the needle, and let the song play on. Moral of the story. Some records look scratched beyond repair, but the deepest grooves hold the truest sound. Love, like analog tape, never truly erases, it only waits for the right hands to press play and carry the music forward, full volume, into eternity.